My parents called the police on me at my own housewarming party because I refused to sign the deed over to my pregnant sister, claiming I had stolen her future by being successful. I bought my first house 2 weeks ago. It wasn't a mansion, just a 3-bedroom fixer-upper I paid for with money I saved from working 60-hour weeks at a refinery for 5 years. My younger sister, Bella, has never held a job for longer than a month. She's the golden child. If Bella wanted a pony, my parents bought her a horse. If I wanted a bike, I had to mow lawns for a summer. Bella recently announced she was pregnant by a guy she met at a festival 3 weeks prior. My parents were thrilled. I was just the ATM. When I invited them over to see the new place, I expected a congratulations. Instead, my mom walked into the master bedroom, looked around, and said, "This will be perfect for the nursery. You can move your things to the basement before the baby comes." I laughed because I thought she was joking. I said, "Mom, I'm not moving into my own basement." The room went dead silent. My dad stepped forward, his face turning that familiar shade of purple. He said, "Your sister needs stability. You're a single man. You don't need 3 bedrooms. We discussed this as a family, and we decided you're going to rent this to Bella for $500 a month." I told him to get out. That's when Bella started screaming. She threw herself onto my new hardwood floor, sobbing, yelling that I was trying to make her homeless, that I hated her baby. My mom rushed to comfort her, glaring at me like I was a monster. She said, "If you don't give her the keys right now, we're calling the police and telling them you pushed her." My blood ran cold. I watched my own mother pull out her phone. She dialed 911 and started screaming, "Help! My son is attacking my pregnant daughter. He's going to kill the baby." I stood there, leaning against the kitchen island, and didn't move a muscle. I didn't try to stop her. I didn't beg. I just waited. 10 minutes later, 2 officers banged on the door. My dad opened it, putting on his best concerned father act. He pointed at me and said, "Officer?" Thank God. He went crazy. He shoved his sister down the stairs because he didn't want to share the house. The officer looked at me. I was calmly drinking a Red Bull. He looked at Bella, who was wailing on the floor, perfectly positioned for sympathy. The officer put his hand on his holster and told me to turn around. My mom smirked. It was small, but I saw it. She thought she had won. She thought the fear of jail would make me sign the papers. I looked the officer in the eye and said, "Before you cuff me, I'd like you to look at the iPad on the counter." My parents froze. They didn't know that because the neighborhood was rough. The first thing I installed was a high-end security system with interior cameras and audio. I played the footage. The officer watched the video of my mom plotting the false report. He listened to her say, "We'll tell them he pushed her." He watched Bella throw herself on the floor willingly. The officer's face hardened. He turned to my parents. The silence in that room was heavy enough to crush a lung. He said, "Filing a false police report is a crime. Attempted extortion is a felony." My dad tried to stutter an excuse, but the officer wasn't having it. He arrested both of my parents and my sister right there in my living room. It turns out they were so desperate for the house because they had taken out a second mortgage on their home to pay off Bella's gambling debts and were about to be foreclosed on. They needed my house to live in. I pressed charges. My parents are facing 3 years of probation and fines totaling $15,000. I sold the house for a profit and moved 2 states away without telling them the address. Last I heard, Bella had the baby in state care because she's serving time for fraud.